So it's videos like this that prevent me from making it, right? But like, I feel like videos like this matter because this is what's on my mind, and I'm like, yo, I might as well talk about it. So let's talk about money, okay? And not in the same way that everybody else talks about money. So don't click off the video if money turns you off, or if like you're not one of those guys that trying to, get that bag or whatever, then this video might be for you. But if you are one of those guys that's getting that bag, stacking that money, this video is still for you, right? Because this is a video where I'm going to try to explain money from a philosopher's perspective, okay? So money from a philosopher's perspective, it seems that money is just the physical representation of energy, okay? So ever since humans discovered gold, okay, things like diamonds, even salt, okay, these are crystals, rocks, minerals that are rare, and because of that, it makes them valuable, okay? If, back in thousands of years ago when there was no technology and it was just the world around us, had to fix the camera, just the world around us, right? Just like we was living in the trees still and all that. If somebody had like salt, that they were like rich, right? If somebody had, like, imagine you living, okay, and you digging in your land and you hit a giant thing of salt, you're rich. We still have that idea with gold. I mean, with oil. Let's imagine you buy some land and you strike oil. You're fucking rich, because oil is something that humans need, that you can't find everywhere. So if you got it, it makes it valuable because humans want it. Now, what humans had to do is create, and I guess it's not even create because it reminds me of math. We discovered it. Like, math is already there. It's just we weren't intelligent enough to discover it yet. Same thing with money. Money's always been there because money is just a physical representation of energy. And it's always been there in some form or another. Like, even some animals understand give and take. Like, it's so complicated, but like, things that are valuable to us, we want it. And back in the day, they did trading, okay? So if you have something valuable, you would trade your gold for salt. Two different rocks, okay? But these two different rocks, like, you can't eat the gold, but you need to eat the salt. So you would do a trade. What happens if you don't have any gold? Maybe you have silver. Maybe you have something else that the person wants, okay? As time evolved, right, it became trading salt. Salt was valuable. But now it's like all of these things have became valuable, where it's not just money is not just money. Money is the salt. Money is the gold. Money is the silver. Money is the plants that I sell. Money is the beats that I make if I'm selling them for money. If there's something that brings value to somebody else that they can't get themselves, so if somebody wants a beat from me, they give me money for the beat that I made. But the beat itself is still a physical representation of money. If I, like, next week, I plan on starting a thing where I'm just going to take a whole entire week, make a bunch of simple, like, hip-hop style beats, still have my style in it, but more simple, because my style of beats might, like, take forever to make, but hip-hop beats are a lot more simple. So if I sit down, take a week to just sit down, make 10 to 15 beats that are only intended to sell, then that is technically considered liquid money. Like, it's money that is sitting there that's still valuable, that it's like, that is worth whatever. Like, and I'm going to calculate it. I don't know how much my beats are going to be. Anywhere between $500 to $1,000, but like, I'm thinking about doing it through, NFT still. And because the money, like NFTs are money. Like NFTs, because art has always been this thing to like kind of avoid tax. Like I don't know how to fucking explain it because I don't want to say it wrong, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way or misunderstand what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is people were using art. Millionaires will buy art, okay? And it's basically just a way to have money on hand when they need it, if they ever need it. And it's just another form of saving. But it's also a form of saving that cannot be taxed. Like it's a way where you can have a lot of money that's not taxed. NFTs are very similar, where you're not taxed until you sell the NFT. Like if you go to sell the NFT and then take that money and switch it into, cash, you will be taxed. If you don't understand that, you might sell your NFT and then take all your money out of the wallet instead of just taking maybe a little bit out, or maybe living a certain way where you're not just living off of cash, off of one form of currency. This is what I think multiple streams of income mean, but humans have been brainwashed to think multiple streams of income mean that you're working multiple jobs at the same time, but then you have no time to live your life. But then really you have not much money because you hate your life so much that you spend your money on going to the bar or spending it on things you shouldn't do, buying drugs, buying alcohol, buying this, buying that, buying clothes that when you already have a bunch of clothes and like whatever the fuck, but you have a bunch of clothes but you don't have an actual bunch of streams of income that make you feel like life is worth living. Like we have been brainwashed to waste our life, and this is why it's like it's so hard to explain that never work for money, never work to pay the bills, have a strategy about your life and your family. And like, man, ever since I started this financial journey, what I meant when I said that I started a financial journey, right? This whole time I've been on the psychedelic journey, on the spiritual journey. Now I started my financial journey. And what I have came to the conclusion of is that this is a very similar journey to everything else I've been on. It's just energy. Like I was on the journey of discovering myself and found out, holy shit, I'm just energy inside of a body. And holy shit, the energy that we put inside of money is the same energy that's inside of us. Like, it's fucking complicated. But I look at these things from a shamanic philosophical point of view. So I'm able to look at money without ego. And because I'm able to look at money without ego, I'm not sitting here saying it's the rich, or we need to tax the rich more, or whatever, because y'all don't understand. The rich don't pay taxes because they're smart about their money. They understand money. That's the problem. People might have a lot of money, but they don't understand it. Or not even that. You might have a lot of paper, but you don't understand that you'd have a better life if you took some of that paper, bought some art, bought some investments, maybe buy some of this and buy some of that. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to get, but I'm just saying that if you looked at your life and said, well, what do I enjoy? What do I like? Like, somebody might buy one of my beats, like, as an NFT, but they might buy one of the beats just so they have it. Maybe they don't even want to buy it to fucking rap on or whatever. Like, it's a weird thing that's happening with the world because we're moving out of the industrial era where humans had to work for their money, and now money is becoming more and more things because at one point it was just salt and gold and silver and diamonds and this, and then it was silver coins, and then we decided to switch it into like, I'll stack this amount of gold here, and then we create this many bills that equals that amount of gold. So then you have 10,000 bills here those 10,000 bills. You have one giant rock that weighs a certain amount that is worth those 10,000 bills. And then that's what they did. Until they took the dollar off the gold standard in the 1970s. And once they did that, money became what they call fiat currency, which is just a debt-based currency, which is more complex to explain. That, man, it's fucking complicated, bro. Because, like, there's too much to money to really fucking explain in one video, because what I'm trying to do is trying to just philosophically spit out or philosophically ramble out all the shit that I've fucking figured out about money within the past month or so. That, you know, I now understand about the Federal Reserve. I now understand about the debt. I now understand that they are part of the government, but not really. They're like a branch off of the government and a shit. Like, I mean, it's fucking complicated to explain. But the Federal Reserve is only in charge of the fiat currency, the paper money, and that type of money. But then there's cryptocurrency, which was created without the government's knowledge, in a sense, because humans already knew that the people that control the money are not going to want to give up their power, so they had to create something, and now it's like, you can't, once the technology is created and it's out the bag, there's nothing anybody can do about it, no matter how rich they are, no matter how powerful they are, right? When the internet was created, it doesn't matter how many rich guys own businesses that did not want online businesses to be a thing. It doesn't matter. They're a thing. It doesn't matter if people like NFTs, or if people like cryptocurrencies, if people like these things. It doesn't matter. Because now they're here. Because that's what money does. It evolves. The energy is just being fluid. Just like a river is being fluid, right? It's moving through the earth. The water is moving through the earth. There's many rocks below the water. And as it's flowing over the fucking thing, it's moving in a current. It's going that way. Currency, money, is also a thing that flows, that moves, that has motion to it. That's why it's called currency. It's like electrical currency, or a river has currency, and it has flow. So that's why it's good to have money flow, not have stagnant money, because we've been taught to save money instead of invest money and to use it. Because, do you understand how many times I'm about to go back down to zero within the next fucking year or two? A lot. I'm about to go to zero a lot. I'm about to relaunch, because as soon as I get everything to relaunch my online business, what I mean by everything is saved enough to relaunch my online business, then I'm going right back down to zero, spending every fucking dollar I have on the online business, on the products, on this, on the everything else I'm doing, whatever. But I already have enough customers right now, just even locally, like where I wouldn't even need the online part, but I already have enough customers locally where I know I can make that money back. And then it'll just create a money flow after that, instead of just stagnant money. Because right now, the money I have saved is stagnant money. And because I'm not, I quit my job probably way before I should. I did all this maybe way before I should, but I needed my time to be able to make beats and to learn more things, and I had to make the sacrifice. And like, I guess I was able to make that sacrifice because I'm not concerned with looking rich. I'm not concerned with getting money to go on a beach or somewhere. I'm not concerned with making money for any of that. I'm concerned with making money so once I can understand it, I can tell people what I understand about it, what I've learned about it. And like, I don't know, it reminds me, that's why I said I'm looking at this like a financial journey. Just like when I started smoking DMT, I was on the DMT journey. But I went on my DMT journey, and then the whole fucking thing after that was me trying to explain it. And still to this day, fucking 8 years later, still trying to explain the fucking DMT trips. And I just want to try to help people look at this from a different perspective, because it is our perspective of money. That is why we are broke. That's why there's somebody watching this video that has $20,000 in their pocket, that has $100,000 in their bank account, that has a bunch of cryptocurrency, but they still are fucking poor as fuck, thinking more about money and stacking that money and getting that bag than anything else. I don't think about money in that way. As I think about it, I'm learning about it, and I'm learning that it's just a tool, just like psychedelics are just a tool. You can look at psychedelics like a drug, or you can look at them like a tool, but how you look at it and your intention with it is that's the point. That's what matters. How you look at money and your intention with money, that's the point. That's what matters. It's not a bad thing. And it's not a cure-all either. Like, people think psychedelics is this cure-all to all of our mental health issues, or people think getting rich is the cure-all to all their problems. No, the main problem they have is escapism. Trying to find a solution in an outside thing. Like money, or vacations, or going out, or doing drugs, or fucking hot chicks, or like all this shit. These are all escapism. And instead of escape, because escapism gets like a hold of our life, is when we don't have a hold of our life. Like, when you start to hate money, it's because you don't understand money. When you start to hate drugs, it's because you don't understand drugs. When you start to hate a certain race, it's because you don't understand that race. Like, we hate what we don't understand. And we live in a different world, okay? So I'm 28 years old. There are people that are younger than me that are so much more richer than me. There are people that are younger than me that know a lot more about business than I do, right? But that's fine. I think the huge problem with everybody, doesn't matter what situation you're looking at this with, is the human ego. In the spiritual psychedelic community, we've talked about killing the ego. I don't think it's about killing the ego, but I do think it's about destroying that ego and beating that motherfucker up so goddamn much that it can't stand without your help. That's what I think it's about. Because my ego can't stand without my help now, where it's like, I use my ego to help me as a tool to push me to like, I don't know how to explain it, but I have control over my ego. It's not about killing the ego, it's about taming the ego. And I have my ego tamed. Like a wild animal, like a wolf that was turned into a dog, right? And the problem is that we are being domesticated by somebody else instead of being domesticated by ourselves. The society around us domesticates us to be weak, dumb, and stupid, when you could be domesticating yourself to be powerful, strong, intelligent, and like resilient, and like, so like, because of the ideas of money that we think it's going to solve our problems, people literally make it their main focus and think that rich people think about money all the time. I've never heard Elon Musk talk about money. I've never heard Elon Musk talk about stacking that bag. I've never heard about Oprah Winfrey stacking that bag. I've never heard about these people stacking that bag. Now, I have heard certain millionaires obviously talk about money, but they're talking about it in a different way. But humans have their ego so shoved up their ass that when they hear anybody talk about money, they say, oh, that's all he cares about. No, he's just trying to teach you something about it. But your ego is so in the way that you can't hear it. It's just like when I talk about psychedelics and people roll their eyes and they're like, oh, here he goes again with the psychedelics. It's like, okay, but your ego's in the way and you don't want to hear, like, you don't want to see my perspective. You're so focused on your perspective. But my perspective is only my perspective. I'm looking out here, right here, as I make this video. That's my perspective. Your perspective is you're probably looking at a screen, and I am too right now. I'm looking at a screen, and I'm looking up, looking at the screen. But, like, there's nothing wrong with my perspective. I spend a lot of time in front of my computer. And I've had friends tell me, you spend way too much time in front of a screen, yada, yada, yada. But that's their perspective. But they're missing a perspective because they're missing the fact that I come out here more than anybody I know. That, like, I'm probably outside more than anybody you know, right? Like, so, but I'm also probably in front of a screen more than anybody you know. It's a weird paradox, but it's just a balance that I have in my life. That I know my own self. I know me. So it's like, I knew that once I started my financial journey, I wasn't going to look at money the same. But I also knew that people were going to start looking at me funny because I'm supposed to be the spiritual DMT guy that doesn't care about money. Funny thing is, I still don't care about money. Like, do you actually care about the money in your pocket? Like, think about this. Do you actually care about the money in your pocket? Like, you love it like you love your kids? Like, no, it's an inanimate object that we put value to because it's just a representation of something. Like, I don't know. It's just a representation of energy. And the problem is, though, it's not the only representation of energy. But people think it's the only representation of energy. And for me, I went down the spiritual journey, and I've gained so much spiritual energy, spiritual currency, that I have an extremely rich soul. A very rich and powerful soul. Now it's time for me to become a rich, powerful human being, physical being, right? But I'm not looking at this in a weird way. Like, I'm so happy with the way my life is. Like, I've set my life up this way, though, where it's a lifestyle that I live every single day that I can be happy with whether I make it or not. But there is no whether I make it or not, because I'm not focused on it like that. I'm just trying things and having fun, and life is just a game to me, and I'm playing and I'm seeing if I can do this, and if I can do it, then fuck yeah. If I can't, then fuck yeah. At least I had fun trying, right? But there is no failure when you're looking at it as opportunities. Like, there's no failure, because what am I failing at? If I started my business in 2017 and it failed, but I only started it with $200. $200, and then, well, $1,000, $1,200. $1,000 for the product, and $200 for the like packaging and the stickers and the website and like the logo. Actually, I think it was $300, but whatever the fuck. So $1,300, and then I started my business. There's people out there that are sitting there with $10,000 saying, "Oh, I don't have enough to start my business. I don't know what to do." Bro, it's not a problem of how much money you have. It's a problem of you. It's a problem of how many ideas you have in your head. It's a problem of how much you're willing to take. How resilient are you? How bad do you actually want that thing? And what the fuck do you actually want? Because you just want money to be comfortable. That's why you have $10,000 saved instead of $10,000 invested. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but we are not, if you're watching one of my videos, you're probably not one of those extremely rich guys that had opportunities since you were a child. So you don't have time to sit there and say, well, money's the devil, or money's evil, or fuck these people, or these rich guys, or whatever the fuck. And it's like, yeah, a lot of these rich guys are assholes, but that's because the journey that they had to go on to fucking become the man that they are was a hard fucking journey. People always wonder why. Like, people say, well, as a spiritual dude, you're kind of rough around the edges. That's because I've been through the rough for so goddamn long that, yeah, of course I'm a little rough around the edges. Like, maybe I'll peace out a little bit more and calm the fuck down more after I can meditate without worrying about my bills or worrying about this shit. And that's what I mean. I'm happy, I'm great, I'm living, but I see that there's more potential. Like, I see my potential because I know that I am infinite potential. I know that I can be whatever I imagine. And if I can imagine myself having multiple businesses, then I think that's what I should try doing. If I can imagine myself selling beats and doing this and living, like, just living my life in my way and my lifestyle and just doing what makes me feel alive, and then I'm gonna do it. And people were judging me when I was smoking. Even like psychedelic people were judging me and putting me down for the way I use psychedelics. But those same psychedelic people don't have much psychedelic currency, meaning they don't have much experience with the psychedelics because they followed rules of somebody else instead of figuring out what works for them. Because there's rules in the psychedelic community. You can only do it this much, and it's only spiritual if it's this way, and you have to do it this way. And it's the same thing with money. You get a job and you save up, and maybe one day you'll be able to have enough to do your thing, or maybe one day, and it's like, no, fuck that. I quit the job and started making beats and started selling beats because I can make more money from selling one beat than I can working 2 weeks at one job. So, like, it's just a matter of thinking and working hard on making your ideas real. That's it. And money is just this thing about looking at money and realizing it's just a physical representation of energy to move around in the physical world, to buy things in the physical world, to pay your landlord so you can live in the physical world and have a home in the physical world, like, money is required. Nothing, bitching about it is not going to change money. I was sitting here bitching about money for the past 8 years. Talking about money, it doesn't mean anything. It's not real. And the rich are just delusional. And you can be happy without it. And yes, you can be fucking happy without it. I'm fucking great. But why not try? I'm fucking great anyways. Like, why not? And I'm sitting here looking at life like it's just some game that I'm just like, well, I guess it's time to level up. And I guess it's time to push myself again. I guess it's time to put myself in the unknown again. Because 8 years ago, psychedelics and shamanism and everything about psychedelics was completely unknown to me. Knew nothing about it. 9 years ago, I knew nothing about receptors or drugs or anything. Nothing. So I'm looking at this like 8 years of me working on becoming the best entrepreneur I could be. Becoming the best, like, I need to become as financially educated as I possibly can. Not financially, and not just focus time. It's not just about focusing time to make. It's more about investing and more about this and that. And that's what I have to surround myself with. People that think about money in a different way, other than just stacking up and getting that bag by any means type shit. Because I do have morals that I'm not gonna fucking break. So like, it's complicated, but I'll get there.